Bound by contracts. The tale of an ex-employee's non-compete violation. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. John Anderson had always dreamed of making a name for himself in the competitive world of marketing. Fresh out of college, he joined a promising marketing firm called Bright Path Marketing, known for its innovative approaches and a roster of high-profile clients. The firm was a small agency, but its reputation was soaring thanks to its founding team, which had a collective experience of over 30 years in the industry. When John started, he was full of ambition and determination. He quickly became an asset to the company, proving himself capable of handling complex projects and building relationships with clients. His enthusiasm was contagious, and he formed strong bonds with his colleagues. However, little did he know that a decision he would make early on in his career would come back to haunt him. After just a year with Bright Path, John was offered a promotion. With his new role came more responsibilities and, notably, a non-compete agreement. The contract stipulated that, for a period of 1 year after leaving the company, he was not to engage in business with any clients he had worked with while employed at Bright Path. The terms of the agreement seemed standard, and John, eager to accept his promotion, signed without hesitation. As weeks turned into months, John became increasingly engrossed in his work. He was determined to build a career that would not only be fulfilling but also financially rewarding. The thrill of clinching new deals and maintaining long-term relationships with the clients filled him with pride. However, in an unexpected twist of fate, Bright Path faced a financial downturn due to a global marketing slump. After exhaustive cuts and attempts to stabilize the firm, the founder decided to close the agency. This sent shockwaves through the company, leaving employees devastated and scrambling for new opportunities. John found himself at a crossroads. He loved his work at Bright Path, but with the firm closing its doors, he had no choice but to look for new opportunities. He was soon offered a job at a rival marketing agency, Forward Solutions, which promised a competitive salary and an exciting role. In a moment of desperation and excitement, John accepted the new position without consulting a lawyer about the implications of his non-compete agreement. He felt confident that the contract he signed was a standard formality, and he didn't believe Bright Path would pursue legal action. Much to John's surprise, Bright Path's founder, Lisa Morgan, was not ready to let go of her former employees easily. Determined to protect the clients she had worked with for years, Lisa decided to pursue legal action against John when she learned he had taken a position with Forward Solutions, a direct competitor. Within weeks of starting his new job, John received a formal letter from Bright Path's legal team. They were claiming he had violated the non-compete agreement by soliciting and continuing to work with 22 clients he had originally served while at Bright Path. Suddenly thrust into the limelight of a legal battle, John found himself battling not just the emotional toll of the situation but also the financial pressure of mounting legal fees. As a young employee, he had never considered the serious implications of his non-compete agreement, and now he was facing significant consequences for what he saw as an innocent oversight. While he continued to work at Forward Solutions, John's productivity suffered. The stress and anxiety associated with the ongoing legal case overwhelmed him. His once promising career trajectory now seemed uncertain, and his reputation was at stake. As the legal proceedings unfolded, both sides built their cases against each other. Bright Path's attorney argued that John's actions were intentional, portraying him as a disloyal employee who had knowingly violated his contract for personal gain. They presented evidence of John's ongoing communications with the 22 clients, illustrating how he used his industry knowledge to lure them away from Bright Path. On the other hand, John's defense argued that the non-compete agreement was overly restrictive and that he had not acted with any malicious intent. His attorney emphasized that the closure of Bright Path was a significant factor, forcing John to seek employment elsewhere, and raised questions about the validity of enforcing such agreements in a rapidly changing industry landscape. After weeks of tense deliberations, the judge finally reached a verdict. In the courtroom, John felt a rush of emotions as he awaited the decision. The judge ruled that while John had technically violated the non-compete agreement by working with the clients, the circumstances surrounding Bright Path's closure were significant. However, the judge also noted the importance of honoring contracts in business relationships. As a result, John was ordered to pay $11,000 in damages to Bright Path for the breach of the non-compete clause. Relief washed over him when he realized it could have been much worse, and with the financial strain behind him, he could refocus on his career. The ordeal left John with deep reflections about his career and personal ethics. He learned the importance of understanding the ramifications of contracts, especially those that could impact his future in profound ways. He became more vigilant about reading and comprehending any agreement before affixing his signature, making it a personal mantra to never overlook the fine print. In the following months, John rebuilt his professional reputation. He worked hard at Forward Solutions, channeling his knowledge and experience into successful campaigns. Rather than letting the legal battle define him, he used it as motivation to prove himself, becoming a respected figure in the marketing industry over time. John established himself as a lead strategist at Forward Solutions. The company thrived, and he was able to maintain positive relationships with clients without looking in the rearview mirror. His encounter with litigation had taught him resilience and the importance of ethical practices in business. He even started mentoring younger employees about the significance of understanding contracts, emphasizing the lessons he had learned. His experience became a teaching point, and he was able to help others navigate their own careers with caution and foresight. Through perseverance, John not only emerged stronger but also became a well-regarded expert in the marketing field. His story continued to inspire others to prioritize integrity and foresight in their professional journeys. Years later, as he sat in his office looking over the skyline, John reflected on the turbulent period of his early career. He was grateful for the challenges he faced, understanding justice served, the neighbor's wrath and the dog attack saga. In the peaceful suburban neighborhood of Maplewood, life moved at a leisurely pace. Families knew each other by name, children played freely in the parks, and weekend barbecues were a common sight. Among the residents were the Johnsons, a family known for their warmth and hospitality, and the Duggar family, infamous for their boisterous ways, particularly their pet, a large and boisterous Rottweiler named Max. Max was a source of both admiration and concern in the neighborhood. To the Duggar family, he was a beloved companion, but to some, including the Johnsons, his unpredictable temperament raised red flags. The Johnsons had 2 children, Lily and Ethan, who loved to play outside in their yard. As a protective parent, Emily Johnson often cautioned her kids about staying clear of the Duggars' property, especially where Max roamed. One sunny Saturday afternoon, the Johnsons decided to host a barbecue with their close friends and neighbors. The aroma of burgers and grilled vegetables wafted through the neighborhood as laughter filled the air. Emily watched as Lily and Ethan played tag in the backyard, her heart swelling with joy. Just next door, the Duggars were having their own gathering. The sounds of loud music and laughter echoed from their backyard as Max barked excitedly, joining in the festivities with his enthusiastic growls. Though the neighbors normally maintained a respectful distance, tensions occasionally simmered beneath the surface due to the contrasting ways of the 2 families. Emily's unease about Max was always present, but today she tried to push her worries aside, focusing instead on the joy of family and friends. As the sun began to set, illuminating the evening sky with shades of orange and pink, the Johnson kids begged their mom for one more game of tag. With the adults preoccupied, Emily reluctantly agreed but kept a watchful eye. As Lily sprinted across the yard, she accidentally crossed into the Duggars' territory, an area that lay dangerously close to the fence separating the 2 properties. At that moment, Max, who had been lounging near the porch, spotted Lily. With a sudden burst of energy, he dashed through the open gate that the Duggars had carelessly left ajar. Before Emily could react, Max lunged toward Lily, barking ferociously. The chaos that ensued was unimaginable. Lily screamed as she stumbled, trying to escape the approaching dog. Ethan, alarmed and frightened, ran to his sister, hoping to shield her. In a frantic attempt to protect Lily, he grabbed her arm, but Max had already reached her. In just seconds, the usually tranquil neighborhood devolved into sheer panic. Emily rushed toward her children, screaming for help. The Duggars swiftly followed, trying to regain control over their misbehaving pet. It was a moment that would change the lives of everyone involved forever. After what felt like an eternity, Max was finally restrained by Mr. Duggar, who had made his way over, shouting desperately for Max to calm down. Emily reached Lily, who was visibly shaken and had sustained minor injuries from the dog's bite, forming small puncture wounds on her leg. The alarmed screams of the adults brought several neighbors running, their expressions filled with shock and concern. Emergency services were called, and within minutes, an ambulance arrived. Lily was whisked away, and Emily followed closely, her heart pounding with fear and despair. The incident left a massive rift in the once peaceful neighborhood. Though Lily's injuries turned out to be minor, the emotional trauma remained. The next day, a cloud of tension hung over Maplewood. Emily, distraught and angry, knew something had to be done. She gathered her thoughts and decided to take a stand, not only for her daughter but also for the safety of her community. With the support of her family and friends, Emily made the difficult decision to file a lawsuit against the Duggar family for negligence and damages. She wanted to ensure that no other child would have to go through the terror her daughter faced. Emily's husband, Mark, although initially hesitant about the confrontation, understood the importance of seeking justice and protecting their children. The local community was abuzz with gossip and opinions about the incident. While some neighbors sided with the Johnsons, feeling that the Duggars were irresponsible dog owners, others believed they were being unfairly targeted for a tragic incident that could happen to anyone. The rift deepened, and the neighborhood was divided. As the news spread, the Duggar family became increasingly defensive. They believed that Max was a good dog and that his behavior was completely out of character. They expressed regret over the incident but also claimed that Lily had trespassed onto their property, provoking Maximum. With tempers flaring on both sides, Emily and Mark sought legal counsel and prepared to take the case to court. After a few weeks of gathering evidence, they filed their lawsuit in small claims court. The day for the hearing would prove to be pivotal in many ways. As the courtroom date approached, the tension affecting both families took on a life of its own. The Duggar family held meetings, discussing their defense strategy, while the Johnsons prepared their case. Emily compiled evidence, photographs of Lily's injuries, witness testimonies from neighbors, and documentation of Max's previous behavior. As both families geared up for the trial, the atmosphere in the neighborhood became increasingly strained. Children who once played together now viewed each other with suspicion, and social gatherings were marked by whispered conversations and side glances. On the day of the trial, both families appeared in court, feeling the weight of not just their personal struggles but also the scrutiny of their community. Judge Judy was assigned to hear the case, known for her no-nonsense approach to resolving disputes. As the courtroom convened, the tension was palpable. Emily stood at the plaintiff's table, her heart racing as she faced the Duggars. The judge, known for her keen sense of justice, called for order as she prepared to hear each side of the story. Emily took a deep breath and began her testimony. She recounted the fateful evening with clarity, emphasizing the fear she felt for her daughter and the clear negligence she believed the Duggars exhibited by not securing their yard or properly controlling their dog. Defense attorney for the Duggars countered by arguing that Lily's presence on their property was an invasion. They presented character witnesses who claimed Max was harmless and well-behaved, never before having displayed aggression. The clash of testimonies captivated everyone in the courtroom. Each family presented their narratives passionately, and Judge Judy listened intently, occasionally interjecting with pointed questions to clarify details. Ons over the years due to her own. Mary attested to several incidents where Max had aggressively approached other children, though he had never caused physical injuries until now. Her testimony cast doubt on the Duggars' claims, showing a pattern that suggested they had been neglectful in managing Max despite being aware of his temperament. The judge took detailed notes, and the courtroom fell silent as Mary continued. Her evidence proved crucial in highlighting the Duggars' lack of action despite multiple warnings from neighbors. After days of testimonies, arguments, and emotional appeals, the court reconvened to deliver its verdict. The air was thick with anxiety as both families awaited Judge Judy's decision. When she entered the courtroom, everyone stood. Judge Judy took her seat, adjusting her glasses, her demeanor serious. Filing for negligence is no small matter, and it is clear that there were lapses on both sides. She began. However, the law places a duty of care especially upon pet owners to ensure their animals are secured and their behavior is manageable. Given the evidence presented, especially from testimony regarding Max's history, I find the Duggar family partially liable. Judge Judy's words echoed through the room as the Duggars exchanged worried glances. I am ordering the Duggar family to pay the Johnson family $5,000 in damages for medical costs and emotional distress. Emily felt a wave of relief, not just for the verdict but for the validation of her family's fear. A sense of justice had prevailed, but she also felt for the Duggars, knowing this incident had caused them great turmoil as well. In the aftermath of the trial, there was much healing to be done for both families. The Johnsons were relieved to have some sense of closure and planned to use the awarded compensation to support Lily's therapy, ensuring she could cope with her trauma. Meanwhile, the Duggars faced the fallout of the judgment. They recognized the importance of proper training and containment for Maximum. They sought consultations with professional trainers to ensure their dog would not pose a similar threat in the future. The incident pressured them to think critically about their pet ownership responsibilities. Though the once charming neighborhood of Maplewood had seen divisions, time and healing began to mend the rift. With ongoing discussions and community meetings, both families worked together to develop pet ownership workshops, ensuring that other dog owners would be well informed about managing their pets in a community setting. As seasons changed, Maplewood slowly returned to its former charm. Children resumed playing in the parks, and families reconnected, a newfound camaraderie born from shared experiences and the lessons learned in the courtroom. Emily and Mark became advocates for responsible pet ownership, sharing their story to prevent similar incidents. Their efforts fostered understanding between pet owners and families with young children, bridging the gap created by the dog attack. Max underwent professional training and emerged as a better curbed family pet. With time, even the Johnsons began to see the Duggars in a new light, leading to tentative reconciliation between the two families. Years later, as Emily recounted the painful yet transformative experience to a group of enthusiastic parents at a community event, she reflected on her journey. The dog attack brought forth a wave of change, ultimately serving as a catalyst for fostering a safer environment for children and pets alike. With Max now a friendly presence in the neighborhood, both families embraced a new beginning grounded in understanding, vigilance, and respect. Sometimes, it took a massive upheaval to spark the necessary conversations about safety and responsibility within a community. As the sun set over Maplewood, the children played within eyesight of their parents. The laughter echoed, a reminder that healing was possible, and new friendships could blossom, even after the darkest of storms. The lessons learned became intertwined with the fabric of their lives, ensuring that the welfare of the children and pets would always come first.